So, welcome to Malvern Books. My goodness, there's so many people here. I am so excited for this reading. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. I'd just love to have the Texas State folks up here, and really excited about Cyrus and Deb and Naomi reading here, and I think that's the order they're going to read in. So, we're going to start with Cyrus Cassells. Cyrus is the author of 6 acclaimed books of poetry: The Mud Actor, Soul Make a Path Through Shouting, Beautiful Signor, More Than Peace and Cypresses, The Crossed-Out Swastika, and The Gospel According to Wild Indigo. We have a couple of those on the table over there, I think. Among his honors are a Lannan Literary Award, a William Carlos Williams Award, a Pushcart Prize, 2 NEA grants, and a Lambda Literary Award. Cyrus?
I'm so thrilled to be reading with Naomi and I, who I've known for 30 years. We were actually published together in the 1981 National Poetry Series. The Mud Actor was published along with Hugging the Jukebox. And I can't believe we've never read together. I'm so thrilled that she's our newest colleague. As it turns out, I have been at Texas State 20 years as of this semester. It's amazing. And I travel all over the world, and I have to say that Deborah and Naomi are some of my favorite people in the world. Seriously. I know a lot of people. And I love them dearly, and I can't believe I have this honor of reading with them. So for whatever reasons, I feel I need to go all the way back to my first book and invoke Garcia Lorca. I'm going to read a poem about Duende. I was just talking to one of my translation students about Lorca. Now, my all-time greatest teacher was my Spanish teacher in high school, Concepcion Jorba, and she introduced me to Garcia Lorca's poetry. If you're not familiar with Lorca, he was a great Spanish poet who was born in 1898 and was actually murdered at the beginning of the Spanish Civil War. He's my favorite poet, so I'm bringing him here today. So there's a concept that he helped to popularize called duende. When he talks about flamenco culture, they say that a person has duende if they have this kind of supernatural spirit. The duende actually means hobgoblin. So she said that she thought I had duende, and I kept trying to think of what have I ever done that had duende. And what I remembered was that when I was a child, my parents used to put on Ravel's Bolero, and I would spin around and dance to it like a super dancer. I thought, yeah, that has some duende to it. Duende, for Concepcion Jorba. Above the sill, the moon is burning. Softly, within the house, the bolero begins with its deep magnetic sounds, and I rise from my chair, driven to dance. I spread my arms and start to spin around the room alone. As a child, I danced like this. A dervish dancing toward the ledge of God, turning before my astonished family, never dizzying. And now I seem to hear your voice as though you had said to me again, "Tienes duende, Cyrus." Always I dance till the duende works my body, suddenly aware of each small death and birth of myself, while I spin, miraculous, as a blind man who senses the moonlight brighten the brim of a well. So that's one of those poems. I can't believe I wrote that. I'm so very excited because my book of English versions of the Catalan poet, Francesc Parcerisas, are in full production with Stephen Austin State University Press. We're working out the problems with, I've never done a bilingual book before. So my English versions are longer, they go over one page, so we're trying to figure out how to do that. But this is a project I've worked on for about 13 years. And this summer I went to Barcelona to see him and to put the finishing touches on his book. And this is maybe my favorite of his poems. It's called Act of Gratitude. Feels very appropriate for Sunday. Thank you, angel. Thank you, demons of the night. Thank you, winter, season in which the heart burns arid tree trunks of desire. Thank you, bracing cold light, nocturnal water. Thank you, midnight bile, laurel of morning, hoopoe of dawn, for what's odd, unexpected, wild, for evil and pain. Thank you. For the sum of what we are and are not, for all we avoid and all we crave. Thanks for the lush words, love and silver, for yourself and myself. Thank you for yes and for no, for the ability to give thanks and for rendering them unnecessary. Thanks for fear, for bread and oil, for the nighttime. Thank you for lovemaking at the break of day, for the coin discovered on the ground, for your hand on my cheek, the gush of the fountain. Thank you for your eyes and lips, for crying out my name with joy. Many thanks, death, for your existence, for making all these things more vivid inside me, so very yours, so beautiful, brimming, and complete. That's Francisco Cerizas. My new book, The Gospel According to Wild Indigo, came out in February. The title sequence is set in Charleston and the Sea Islands. So of course with the hurricane and all of the stress that the lowland, the low country is in now, I wanted to read some that actually have a hurricane poem that I want to share. But how this project got started, I was actually in a production of a play called Yellow Man. It's by Dale Orlander Smith, and it was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize, I think, in 2002. And it's a two-header, and each of the actors has to play about 12 or 13 people. So I figured I'd never actually been to Charleston and the Sea Islands, so in order to help me as an actor, I went to do my research, and then what happened was that the production got canceled, but then these poems came as a kind of consolation. They were lyrical and beautiful poems. So I'm going to read from that, from the new book. The poem, the sequence is organized around the word day clean in Gullah, which just means sunrise. So the first poem of the sequence is called Day Clean. Day clean's the Gullah word for the gala sun, the looked for melon, meticulous, up and coming, impossibly hale, ecstatically gilding the Canaan of marshlands, low country cosmos of scurrying punch clock crabs, dauntless kingfishers, frolicking estuary herons. Daycling caresses the praise houses, yo-ho, yo-ho. A's boytime treehouse nestled in a Galahad ancient oak. Gold takes the street musician's dented coronet. Why is he still up? Why is he still playing? Burnishes the early bird fingers on a Mount Pleasant porch. Tea-brown Merlin fingers, fashioning palmetto roses, palmetto crosses. Crab Castle, Jew's harp, foxglove, sea junk, marsh bridge, stilt house, the white of hominy and fine sifted flour, Ladies Island, Cat Island, Defusky, St. Helena. Rummaging gold, matter-of-factly, gleans them all, shell colors and dories, rugged shrimp cellars and windlass reeds, rapacious gold, day clean, sun like a schoolgirl eager for show and tell. Sun could be like like a showgirl too, right? Some like a schoolgirl. There's a character named Augustus who runs throughout this sequence. This is about his childhood. It's called A's childhood. Day clean, the mornings were moss-laden and mule-headed, kingdom of consoling porch swings and steeping sun tea, kingdom of throat-slick okra. The mornings were mud play and faux cannon fire and a makeshift fortress of Spartina, a gullah flourish of gathered starfish in an heirloom sweetgrass basket. If you weren't hawk-eyed, the tantalizing but turncoat sea could pick your pockets, the gypsy-fingered sea. Filch forever, the ward-away treble catbone, beachfront boy, the careworn buffalo nickel, summoned in the first gold hours, A's usually rake-held hands, alongside his robust grandmother's, were lima-shelling hands, and the music of how do and I recollect. The epigraph for this sequence is, of all people, from Wallace Stevens, a tiny poem called In the Carolinas. The pine tree sweetens my body, the white iris beautifies me. So I took each of the two lines and I made a poem. This one is the pine tree sweetens my body. As pine needles coalesce with bulrush and sweetgrass Augustus, to shore a cherished sea island basket, so it seems the fortifying, peace-granting pines have been nonchalantly woven into my days. Out of childhood and enmeshing memory, they appear, co-dreamers, immobile shepherds, surely. From a precocious roving boys, avid to learn vantage, not as supreme as a giraffe, oh no, but just as heaven-reaching. For the inveterate pines, perhaps, the crab-ruled low country marshes have always been arresting theaters. Whatever was shouted or gasped at Jubilee, at the silver point of the bridegroom's climax, or the baby's crowning, they ably cached in their commanding branches, so that if I lay my hardy boy ear to the telltale bark, as I did the tobacco-scented summer I was gnawing, some long-dead singing from vanished dooryards, from cabins and heart-stopping fields, supper-getting-ready songs hummed in pie-cooking heat, is still lodged in the pie. And a couple more from the sequence. Some of the poems in the sequence are in the voices of slaves, and I'll read two of those. This one's called Caesars and Dreamers. The pharaohs of rice and indigo, the conniving Caesars of cotton. What were we to them? Profitable. Able bodies from Barbados and the Windward Coast, the Rice Coast, our souls ramshackle less than a rooster's or a rock's. And yet in painstaking fields and joyous praise houses, our tenacious, go down, Moses, our stirring, rallying, in the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, might have served as proof to those zealous southern despots that we possessed some quilt scrap of God. Go tell those greed-swayed kings of sugar, those implacable princes of tobacco, how we garnered freedom in our hard-scrabbled dreams, sang it as sweat-drenched, unshakable hallelujah, whispered it as healing salve to allay the defiling stripes on our backs. Unstinting overseer, iron-eyed Caesar, who better to define freedom than a slave. Here's the other poem from the Wallace Stevens poem, The White Iris Beautifies Me. not the white of hard-won cotton or of pitiless snow. I've found a whiteness that gives me its glory. It blooms in Master Belmare's garden, and though it is, by all accounts, untouchable, quiet as it's kept, I carried it into the shabbiest of cabins, worn it as I witnessed the slave breaker, the hanging tree. In dream snatches, it blesses me, and I become more than a brand, a pretty chess piece at the mistress's bell, always prudent and afraid, wily and afraid. And when the day comes, my rescuing flower's name will become my daughter's, a freeborn woman. I swear she will never be shoeless in January snow, bold iris. She will never fear sail or the bottom of the sea. I'll read just a couple more from this. A hurricane. All the windows are open to the sea, the murmur of Atlantic coral. Smash them with your song, wild to the western ear. And who are you with your stripping punches? You're uprooting the palms, you're tearing the leaves. Oh, what you love is the skeletal. And who am I that you would take my verdant snake, my blessed island, and dash it to pieces? If this day, this aftermath, is a thorny school, the sear light in the day, then what is the lesson in it? That the gift is always imperiled? That the swart surviving horses, the veteran palms seem more alive now, more alive? In the iron gargantuan hush, medicine and smithereens, a fierce concentration on cherishing the living. From spirit back to spirit again, dash it to pieces, creator, destroyer, you pirate god, Huracan, with your ferocious gangplank, your pitiless and raucous wind that will ensure grief. And yet it dares to be born, mud fresh, like a foal amid the wreckage, the bankruptcy, from spirit into flesh again, resilience. I'll end with the title poem. For many years I didn't know what the gospel according to Wild I got in the course of writing it. So this is what I discovered. The gospel according to Wild Indigo. Wild Indigo.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. The gospel according to Wild Indigo. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse today. I thought the neti pot would do the trick, but the gospel according to Wild Indigo. In time, the sea-loved Carolinas, the spade and hoe land, which was our break-soul yoke and lament, became, so help us, our land. On Ladies Island, Cat Island, Tefusky, St. Helena, Ham's unlauded children, broken and unbroken, we waded in the mothering water, garnering the Moses wise Marcia's secrets, the irrepressible crabs broadcast. Under the dipper dreamers, singers, we let ancient oaks counsel us, mossy Abrahams and Isaacs. From pliant sweetgrass, we coaxed mint new forms of utility and beauty. We learned resilience. Who better to define freedom than a slave? A taproot waiting from the gospel according to Wild Indigo, in which death and defiling bondage are transformed into foam and fish scale blue, a heron swoop, and bold-fisted hurricanes dismantle the master's belligerence. Our profit-smashing owners our slyly disowning fathers, they told us we had no rights to the dawn and gave us first instead the Gorgon's heart of the hold, thick as blackstrap syrup. But here it comes. Can we get a witness? Here it comes with a renegade swiftness. Yo-ho, yo-ho, night-yoked mother, never defeated brother, sister, inspiriting down to the wire, immaculate as a deacon's gloves. Day claim.